Hello? Is it me you're looking for? Winters has come. How are we doing? Everyone in the chat, is the sound okay? How's the sound? Hello, Timothy Unwin, Rob, Pleasant Level Crafting. Marius, I'm sorry that you're out away walking with the dog. But we're here for a... Go away, YouTube. We're here for a Sunday... Is the sound okay? We're here for a Sunday thing. We're here on Sunday. I have beer. So this could get messy. Today I've been painting. Scars are the painting and the things. Loud and clear, good. Hello, Mr. Vertica. And I did a video which I can't talk about. And I've been putting some colour on Lucius the Flawless Blade. And finished off Soltar bits and things like that. So we're good. We're good. I want to touch base. And I've got some things that I wanted to share. Well, I had an idea about... Well, I didn't have an idea. Second and 11th Legions, the Lost Primarks. That was something I talked about on the last live stream that I want to touch on this live stream. Sounds good. Not worry. Come. Okay. Hello and greet. Oh, I'm coming with you, am I, Marius? For your walk. Sound is great. Nice. Good. So we're all in his house. What have you been up to today? Anyone done any hobbying? Anyone did anything exciting whatsoever? Please share. Love to hear it. I'm loving this Horus Heresy floor Themon model. I've got some more. Anyway, more hobbying things over there to deal with. Yeah. Try not to talk about that side of things too much because I might give things... Hello, Herr Schatten. Nice. Sound is great. Good. Everyone watch the AOS battle report as well? Did you watch that one? Painting Crimson Fists. Wednesday. Start my new claiming club. Nice. Moving my hobby painting studio. You provided a welcome break. Nice. Where are you moving it to? Huh? From one room to another, or are you moving it to a different system? Are we going to Baal? I mean, it's safe there now. They've been mainly eradicated. Working on my Land Raider, Excelsior. Beautiful model it is indeed. The AOS battle report was hilarious. It was confusing for some of us. Gardening today as the sun was out. It was, but it was freezing. I mean, gardening. I did touch grass today. I went for a walk. I did touch grass. Busy painting infiltrators for Raven Guard. Nice, correct, Legion. Painting Space Wolf's commission. Says Old Fart Gaming. Are you busy, Old Fart Gaming? Do you have many commissions to do? And how would people get in contact with Old Fart Gaming to get commission work from you? Basement, where it belongs. Well fortified. Oh, that's where you're moving it to. Nice. Waiting for some Myrmidons to show up. Richard Tucker, Myrmidons. Myrmidon Secators or Myrmidon Destructors? Secators are the correct life choice. Hey Winters, hope you're well. I am Killer Kriegsman. I'm very well. I have beer. Does anyone else have beer? Anyone else have beer? So those are the hobby stories, right? Any more hobby stories? Myrmidon Secators. Tell me if it's Myrmidon Secators. They're strong in Heresy. Nurgly basis for my Space Marine Secators. Nice, Richard Tucker. Yeah, I've done it's actually on this computer here, because I did an Emperor's Children video saying, hey, here's my Emperor's Children. I did a video saying, hey, here's my Mechanicum Force, about 3,500 points. And in that, I do point out just how pokey Myrmidon Secators are and how you don't want to run across them down a dark alleyway and how I want 6 more. 2 units of 6. All with phase plasma fusels will be brutal. Building 20 Grey Slayers for my new Wolves project for HH. Craig the Celt. Well, it's Celtish, so having the wolves. I whine a bit. I'm not so good, mate. Ooh. Not so good. Big split with a wife. Yeah. Okay. The domestic authority, they need a being at all times. Happy wife, happy life. Unhappy wife, unhappy life. It's a balancing act. But we live to serve. Unlike my cat, who I serve. No, 1 minute. We live to serve, and we live to serve him too. That's how this thing works. Been thinking of cracking open one of the Bugman's beers I've got. Took a bottle each home from last visit. Nice, Maris Cave. Yeah. So I took a little dabble at the AOS. Did you guys see the AOS? I mean, April Fools and all that. But the guys were like, hey, let's do some AOS. And I was like, nah. Who wants to do AOS? Where's the las cannons? And they were like, it's a really good game. Play AOS. Now, I know the AOS that we did isn't a perfect representation of the AOS that people talk about, but it definitely, I mean, we touched the edges. We didn't go deep, but we didn't go deep down there. We didn't go full lube, but we touched around the edges. You were salty. I know I was, wasn't I? I was a bit salty that day. But I'm glad that some of you thought it was humorous. The idea was, it's funny. It's April the 1st. I was trying to I have no idea what's going on. And I'm a little bit salty because there's no las cannons and tanks and things. And basically that's how it is in a room with the boys. I don't know how it is for you guys, but mainly it's us taking the piss out of each other and trying to put each other off. Well, not trying to put each other off, but just trying to take the piss out of each other and enjoying a good game of 40k and laughing. And skipping, and lots of hugs, and the occasional stab. But apart from that, yeah, it's about fun, and I had fun that day. There's nothing I enjoy more than hanging out in a room with another couple of sweaty guys and sweating over Warhammer 40k, and it wasn't for Warhammer 40k, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I would normally enjoy it, but I did want to see a game, and that is my first full interaction of the Age of Sigmar. Now, the squiggy hoppy things, they were a bit broken. And also, I've had many comments saying how many rules we fucked up, which is just like a normal game of 40k, I guess. But everything charges, and then you get to fight, and then I get to fight, then you get to fight, then I get to fight, then you get to... I mean, what's the point in charging with more than one thing? I don't understand it. Also, no shooting. Or very little shooting. But apparently it's getting swamped with shooting right now, and loads of AOS players are upset by that. But it doesn't, I mean, I remember playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle and there was a lot of shooting. There was javelins and there was bows and crossbows and gunpowder and Bretonians with shotguns and catapults. Oh my. There was quite a bit of shooting in that game and cavalry charges and things like that. There was, yeah. But in this one, hardly any. And there's just a bowling ball table with these two forces bouncing along to each other and one of them dying horribly. It was entertaining nonetheless. Poor hobnobs, yes, many hobnobs were killed in the making of that battle report. Hi guys, says A. Kirby. Hi A. Kirby. Killer Kriegsman's working with Morning Glory, so not completely dead. Morning Glory, lovely chap. Love seeing it. Personally, find AOS battles are often more one-sided than 40k. Yeah, that's the other thing I found. Like, AOS isn't perfectly balanced as all things should be, is it? I heard it was the better game system. All the proponents, champions, bards, mavens who sing about Horus Heresy tell us it's so much better than 40k. But let's face it, we gave it a go. We put it on the channel, and it's a bit, it's shit. It's AOS is shit. Don't play it. Play 40k or Horus Heresy. Power armor, Space Marines, explosions, things like that. Eric Smith says AOS is good. You're wrong, Eric. We just agreed that AOS is terrible, that it's unbalanced, and the tables are terrible. Amongst my friends, it gets mixed reviews. Okay, we have some sensible stuff. Those that play with me like to play narrative over the general handbook missions. Yes. Well, that's the schism in every game system. Are you playing to win? Are you playing to destroy? Or are you playing to have fun? And if you win, it's a bonus. That's a whole thing there, right? I mean, I play mainly to have fun. No. Only to have fun. Mainly to have fun. But yeah, mainly to have fun works because the other side is also to hang out with my friends and roll dice and talk 40k and talk about the hobby and share in the hobby that we love. Winning is a bonus, but it's not the reason why I play games. I mean, I also kick around the football with my nephews or play basketball with them and stuff, and table tennis on holiday recently. And I wasn't playing that with my nephews to win, but I did once long ago play 40k to win, and that was mainly to assert my dominance. Most people who need to compensate for something get a motorbike, but no, to assert my dominance and to win, that sort of thing. But we get older, we get more mature, Well, maybe less mature, but we at least get older and we get grey hair everywhere. And we start losing hair where you had it and start gaining hair where you never had it before. And then all the aches and itches and sleepless nights and the existential dread of life gets to us. So we try and just have fun instead with our games. And when we're playing ping pong with the nephews, we're not like, screw you, you 8-year-old jerk, you missed it. We're not like that. Except when we've had too many beers. Really enjoyed the AOS batter up, cheered me up a lot. That was the intention, to have fun and share that fun with you. So, just you, Sir Dragon. No, Night Lord AI, just you. AOS is more about to win than to tell a story. AOS is Fisher-Price Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Nice. That's a smackdown. That AOS video you released was hilarious. That was the intention. Yeah, cool. Some men compensate by buying an Aston. Others go, hey, look at my 9-inch Deep Strike. Exactly. Yeah. Who's Aston? Buying an Aston? Is that like Aston Kutcher? Can you buy them? I guess you can buy all sorts of things off the internet, can't you? People as well. I mean, look at Madonna. Lots of people. And, yeah. Who's the other one? Brad Pitt's other half. She got like loads of them off the internet. There's all sorts of things you can buy off the internet. The beer's going down well. I enjoyed the Path to Glory system in AOS. I find the added risk of your troops dying and becoming weaker gives it less of a gamey feel, as you want to keep your troops alive. Aston Martin. Okay, not someone called Aston. I'm sure you could probably buy someone called Aston off the internet as well. You can buy anything off the internet, can't you? Almost anything. There's probably an embargo on las cannons and land raiders, but with that exception, you could probably buy anything off the internet. Small countries, very small stones. A duck. Who are you who's so wise in the ways of science? Name that movie. AOS, for me, far more relaxed than 40k. Lizard people fighting ghosts. It's wild. Well, you are Night Lord AI. So, chatbot GPT. We can't tell whether what you mean is actually real, whether you're just pouncing out that algorithm, excuse me. ADR Wargaming. Angelina Jolie. That's the... You know the people who can do that click like that? I can't do the click like that. They're mainly on TikTok. I've always wanted to do that. You know that... And it goes click like that. And it's like so cool. I want to be cool like those kids. Like you do the... Yeah. But I was never cool. Angelina Jolie, she's the puppy who I'm pretty sure just went around certain countries with a net collecting collecting. She just grabbed them. She had to catch them all, like the Pokemons, like all of them. Appreciated that you tried OS. It was fun to watch, though perhaps not the best example of the game. All good though. Pemot, it was definitely not the best example of the game. But it definitely was an example of the game, wasn't it? I mean, we had two forces, we had dice, we had a board, we had fun. It was definitely an example of the game. And the old world had scope, depth, history. It had borders. Warhammer 40k is borders, the galaxy, and scope and depth, Horus Heresy. And then AOS feels more like my brain just broke and I couldn't think of something witty and exciting to say about AOS, which is a bit like AOS, breaking the old world. I guess they had to. No one was playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Each edition would come out. No one was buying the things. They needed a reset. So they reset, and it would have been nicer if the place they reset it to had some scope and some diameter. Mind you, there are people out there there's AOS people in the chat, I'm sure, who will tell you that the AOS lore and the AOS books are absolutely fantastic, and you have to read them because they're really, really good. And I say Gotrix and Felix to you, that's what I say. But Yeah, I hear from the AOS fanboys that it is, and girls, that it is an absolutely lovely system. Having played it, having seen it, having watched it, not played it, I thought it wasn't. And also the lore, again, I thought it just... I guess you're watching, me for the 40k and Horus Heresy content, so you're in agreement. So this is a closed church here. The Last Church, and I am Revelation. Did anyone name that movie? Holy Grail. Well done. Midas Jones, you win an internet point. I'd buy that for $1. Robocop. Be hilarious to see AOS army with AOS rules versus the 13th with 40k rules. Are you a channel member? Is that what that badge means? Tell me that in the run-up to... Hold on to that thought. And tell me that in about February next year, as we run up to April the 1st next year. Because it will be hilarious to see an AOS army with AOS rules versus the 13th with 40k rules. Set that up on the battlefield. It'll be a 20-minute... It'll be AOS versus 40k. The 13th versus tree people. Go. And see how long those tree people last. Not very long, because it'll be like, turn 1, the 13th, take off, go to orbit, and nuke the planet. It's the only way to be sure. I think AOS has become a lot in depth these days. The realms and factions are more fleshed out, but I understand what you mean. Yeah, I'm hearing that from people, that some of the narrative and some of the books and some of the stuff and things for the AOS is actually quite good. I mean, here I am shitting all over it. I'm sure there's lovely things to be said about it. I mean, I'll quite happily shit on... I don't know, Swindon, where I live. I'll shit all over Swindon. It was in the newspapers today. Someone called it a hollow city full of hollow people, and it's not even a city. And I get what they mean. I shit all over that too. But there are some nice things about it. For example, there's lots of things outside of Swindon that are not Swindon that you can get to quite easily, like Bath, Oxford, Bristol. Stonehenge is like 45 minutes down the road. Cotswolds are like 5 minutes that way. Yeah, there's lots of things that are not Swindon which are better than Swindon, which is the best thing I can say about Swindon. So yeah, where are we? Oh, Ard Wargaming, welcome to the 13th tier 3. Thank you for becoming channel member. AEDR Wargaming, I appreciate you, sir. Cheers. I'm glad you did that, because that triggers me to do the spiel, which is, hi, support me and become a channel member. Choose the correct life choice by becoming a channel member. There are many things you can choose in life, like milk before the tea, or tea before the milk. It's always milk first, so that isn't a good decision. Other things you can choose are to buy that car, or to ski, or to snorkel using a penguin bladder. There are many things that you can choose in life. You can choose to lie on the sofa and stare at the fluff in your belly button for a long period of time and wonder how it got there. But the best thing you can choose to do in life is look after your teeth. But the second best thing you can choose to do in life is exercise regularly. But the third best thing you can choose to do in life is not play AOS. And the fourth best thing you can choose to do in life is become a channel member. Thank you for gifting a membership, David Meekham. I appreciate you. Become a channel member. It will free you from tyranny. It will lift you up where you belong. It will allow you to see over that horizon to that distant shore. It will make you a better person. Tier 1 channel memberships gets you the badges and the images and things like that. Tier 2 unlocks my personal Discord. Tier 3 unlocks all the above and gets you access to all of the videos and things. Lots and lots of extra videos. And there's also a Mega Members chat room for those of you who are Mega Members. Servo Skull, cheers from America Land. What are you doing all the way over there, Servo Skull? Come back here. I need you to sort out some things and take some messages for me and things. Spaz Wars 81. I forgot. Are you still supported by beers? No. So the beer people said to me, hey, we'll sponsor you. And I said, great. I said, I'll keep talking about your beers. You keep giving me beers. And they went, okay. And then, so I spoke about their beers, and they gave me some beers, and I kept speaking about their beers, and they didn't give me any more beer. So we don't speak anymore. You'll be surprised the number of times things like that happens to content creators, not just me, but other content creators. I think people say X, Y, Z, and actually A, B, C happens. Or more, what normally happens is, we'll do this and this and this and this, and you set shit up, and then you do a thing, and then nothing happens. So that's what happened from the beer, people. But it was free beer. While it lasted, was free beer. So I consider that I achieved peak Winters SEO with the free beer thing. And it was lovely beer. Winters, when is the next time we're going to see the Pendleton Forge? 10th edition, because I don't have a PhD, so I can't play AdMech right now. I don't know anyone who plays AdMech who isn't at least a nuclear physicist. If you do play AdMech and you're in the chat and you play AdMech right now, hands in the air. Okay? Put down the electronic devices that you're working on right now, the nuclear bomb that you're building, whatever it is that nuclear physicists do, hands in the air. You will find that there's going to be no hands. There'll be 0 hands in the air in the chat because no one plays AdMech right now, because unless they're nuclear physicists. Why does Dogs Hates the Worm? I don't know. That's a shame. Your adverts were hilarious. I do try. Thank you. Any army you're working on? Yes, as I said at the start of the stream. I've been mainly working on building the Emperor's Children. I showed you guys he's washed and that's Lucius, the flawless. I can't even make this fucking thing do the thing. But that is the Warhammer. That's Heresy, Lucius. This is Heresy Sol Tarvitz. Oh, it focused for a moment. I've been working on Lucius today. I'm mainly working on the Horus Heresy. And what else? Yes, that's my big thing at the moment. Tyranids, I'm looking forward to. The Vaurak leaks keep leaking out, and the big one, because they haven't got their Imperial Knight equivalent, right? I mean, if you look at it, there's a Storm Surge for the Tau. There's the Wraith Knights for the Eldar. There's Night Knights for people who aren't Eldar and don't kill puppies. There's big models for all sorts of armies out there. And Tyranids have loads of medium-sized ones and even quite big ones, but they don't have a big one. And apparently there's a big one coming, as well as all the new models and Shrikes and things. So as soon as 10th comes out, I'll be dropping the Emperor's Children like hot shit and picking up the Tyranids and picking up a load of the new ones and working on them very, very hard. Beer. Raise his hand. One hand in the chat. We have one nuclear physicist in the chat. His name is Gilly Gumbo. Thank you for keeping all the energy going. I appreciate it. Thanks. All the lights on. Very environmental way of making energy as well. I appreciate it. Any update on your guard army? No. Let's go over. Everyone has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. Mike Tyson. I knew that one before you did. Please make a Winters t-shirt with drop dice don't count. We've got these. This is rocking the merch. Drop dice don't count. I mean, honestly, the merchandise doesn't sell very much. It's just a little bit here or there. And the money that I make, it's more about giving you guys what you want. So, dropped. I don't think it's drop dice don't count. It was dropped dice don't count. The other thing about that is I could put a couple of little bits of dice on it, couldn't I? A dice here with the drop falling. If I had skills to make it work, which I haven't got, but I will talk to the domestic authority because she is also the merchandise manager. And she will make that happen, maybe. Basically, if it doesn't happen, if you don't see a t-shirt with drop dice don't count, blame my wife. Listening to Talon of Horus. Nice, man. Yes, I've read Talon of Horus, and then you want to do Black Legion. They're both very good. He'll get round, ADB, to eventually writing the third one in the trilogy. He said he would. But it's been 10 years. I feel like, District 9, I'll be back in 9 years or whatever. And they never came back. I feel like that might be a thing with ADB, but I guess Heresy came along. Mind you, I guess he's finished with the Heresies now, so he might be doing the third one. But yeah, Talon Horus. I don't really enjoy books about from the Chaos. I'm an Imperial player at heart. So if you want to read some Black Library books, I recommend Ravener, Eisenhorn, Horus Heresy 1-4, Gaunt's Ghosts, Cephas Cain. There's a bunch of ones that I could recommend to you. And the only Chaos ones that sort of flicker into my mind are the Night Lords trilogy. It is worth it. Everyone should read it. And Talon the Horus Black Legion by ADB. All those 5 books are from ADB, and they are good. They're good. They're definitely worth the price of admission. New Drakami UN. Never! I have some only because Imperial... Yeah. Winter's Dice Set. Winter's Dice Set is coming. They are ordered. And they'll be here sometime in the Chinese New Year of the Penguin. Where did you get that hat? From a shop. Just finished The End and the Death. Oh, the Dagda. Nice, man. No spoilers, but The End of the Death. Banging. Dice are on the way. Yeah, yeah. Chinese Year of the Penguin. I've been trying to will District 9-2 into reality. Another hand in the air. James G. We asked for hams in the air like 5 minutes ago. You got to... This chat thing is a group effort, okay? When I you got... Maybe you're away from your thing at the time, your pad, your phone, whatever it is that you're... Maybe you're away from it. But that is no excuse. You need to take this with you. If you're having a shit right now, this should be with you right now, ready to... Okay, join in. Team effort. Is the Year of the Penguin this year? Yes, it is. Did you like the Storm of... Did you not like Storm of Iron? Nah, not a fan. How does the Night Lords in ADB books compare to the Guy Healy shows them in Pharos? They were brutal in that. Better. It's a deeper dive. Because in the Night Lords, in Pharos, the Night Lords are the antagonists. I mean, I haven't said that. In the Heresy, Sevatar, and there are some really good Night Lord characters that stand out. And in Pharos, that is one of the stronger books in the Heresy as well. Who wrote that one? Guy Healy? I forget. But yeah, Night Lords is... it's hard to pick what is the best series in that you can get for Black Library. Because, well, from my point of view, people ask me all the time, and I try not to give my point of view. I try to give the consensus of what people say is. Also, because I'm trying to steer people right, and I hear lots of things, and I see lots of things, and I'm trying to steer you in the right direction. Because if you really want to spend some money on some Black Library, and also spend a considerable amount of time either listening to an Audible, and if you do go Audible, don't forget to see Luton and put in his Audible code, help Luton out that way. Go to Luton. If you're going to Audible any Black Library, you're going to sign up to Audible, go watch a Luton video first, get his code, then do the Audible. Otherwise, if you read them and stuff like that, it's like, I'm trying to steer you right. And also, my brain is, sometimes I think this is the best, and then this is the best, and this is the best. But it's undoubtedly the series that people keep banging on about are basically the Horus Heresy, the first 4 books, Eisenhorn, Gaunt's Ghosts, Night Lords trilogy. I would say, I couldn't say which one of those. Mind you, the Watchers of the Throne is also really good. But it didn't stick with me in the same way that the Night Lords did, or the first 4 Horus Heresy books, or Gaunt's Ghosts. After Gaunt's Ghosts book 2. Gaunt's Ghosts book 1 and 2, problem with Gaunt's Ghosts, it starts off, it doesn't have the best start. I've said this before on live streams, but it gets better and better and better and better and better. ADB builds the characters, depth and personality, slower going, but worth the effort. Yes, ADB and Dan Abnett, and Chris Ray as well now, I think, do the best character deep dives of the authors from the Black Library. They're very, very good at character. Graham McNeil is very, very good at place. Mechanicum, or outstanding. The Precentor's Palace, the Petitioner's Palace in The Outcast Dead, outstanding. The space battle when the beast arises, outstanding. He does big battles really well, Titan battles, space battles, things like that. Graham McNeil does scale well. He's a very slow build. His first, I want to say third of books, maybe a quarter of his books are just build up, build up, build up, build up. But when it starts going, his sense of scale is just, I mean, the Uriel Ventris book 2 or 3, the one with all the Tyranids, it's just outstanding. The best, it's better than Devastation of Baal. If you want a book which teaches you what it's like to be on a world that's getting overrun by Tyranids, better than the Devastation of Baal is Uriel Ventris. And Uriel Ventris book 2, I think, is the Tyranid invasion one. It's just the best written description. It puts you... See, the Devastation of Baal is so big in scope, which it isn't a fault. It's not a fault. The scope and the grandioseness of it is really good and is one of its strengths. But Graham stays with the things. And it's the best literary rendition. It's of... You feel like you're in a Tyranid hive fleet invasion better than other... You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? Do I know what I'm saying? Does anyone know what they really mean? You should always say what you mean and mean what you say. Name that book. I have 2 Stop it. Go away. I have 2 Minotaur Contemptor Dreadnoughts. 3D printed. How do you feel about 3D printing? 3D printing is great. Stealing and pirating, not good. Guy Haley is great with sprawling vistas. Yes. I think Lost and the Damned was good. Also illegal, by the way. Small stuff like the Wraithbone Phoenix. Phoenix? Is that... Have you written penis? Phoenix is easy. Evening all. Sanguinary Guard in the His House. And Monkey. Sorry, I see the blue ones pop up. I've got my moderator extraordinaire in the His House and Monkey. Hi, Monkey. How you doing? Have you been painting at all today? No? Not at all? Probably. I did some painting. Anna saw Sultan. I went around Sultan's new house the other day, Monkey. And it's big. Sultan used to live around the corner. 5 minutes walk. We would high five in the street. Do the paper round together, all that sort of stuff. Very, very in-depth and in touch with the local community, as 2 upstanding citizens like us would be. And then he moved, then he left me. Still in Swindon. Just a car drive away. And his house is big. The boy's doing well for himself. For someone who's only like 17, to buy a house that big, it's like 7 times the size of mine. It's like big. And his hobby space, a drop pod. I don't know what you said, Monkey. You wouldn't believe it. All that YouTube money give him new house. Yeah, exactly. He's got a YouTube channel. Check out Sultan Plays YouTube channel. He's got thousands of subscribers now. Big house. And his man cave is better than my man cave. It's bigger than my man cave. I can't fit a sofa in there. I could fit a sofa in there, but it crushed the gaming table. He's got a sofa in his with a gaming table and a computer set up in the... Pardon me, beer. I wish I could set up all of this in there, but I can't. Because room, it's a lovely house. Who gave Winter's Monster? Beer, Sanguinigar. Beer. We talked about beer. Kirby, I thought you said higher already. Higher. Did you say higher already, Kirby? I'm getting confused. I believe you did. Did you go and come back? What Aldari model do you hate the most? Going to my local store tomorrow and I need to know what to buy. Boom, Elrich. I like you. That's really funny. Which one do I hate the most? Eldari model. See, the thing is, we're here because we like the models, right? We were the kids and we saw the models and we were like, oh, look at that big space robot thing, and we like the models. So I am not immune to the aesthetic of the Eldar. It's not how they look that annoys me. I like some of the models to look at. They look beautiful, they look stunning, and I appreciate the art that went into it. It's just that I hate everything they stand for. Hi, Winter, says Richard Cook. Hi. Hack that wall down. Sanguinary God. Okay, phew. Dark Angel Jowers, you can shut off the emergency alert. He's drinking beer, not monster. Yes. Yes, okay, phew. It's beer, not monster. We're good. I'm not allowed monster. I'm not allowed energy drinks. Weird things happen when I have energy. Volker and Red Bull, worst thing ever. alcohol and sugar at the same time. I was tired the last live stream. I don't know if you noticed, it was a bit more lower key. It was later at night as well. I felt it a bit more. Where are we? Yes, I replied to Sanguinary Guard, says A. Kirby. I knew I saw you in here. You see, if we can keep talking and communicating with each other, we'll understand where everyone is. Rusty Badger Painting. I appreciate your name. That sounds nice. Rusty Badger Painting. Hi. Thank you for the AOS report. Really enjoyed it and had a great laugh along the way. So did we. I enjoyed taking the piss out of AOS as well. Mr. Timms had a real rubbish weekend. Oh no. I am through the worst of it and into the hope, yes. Mr. Pims, Mr. T. Pims, take care of yourself, buddy. Sometimes, yeah, just take care of yourself, okay? It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have a bad time. These things pass. Even the Horus, even Old Night passed eventually. The Emperor came, showed us his light, unified the galaxy. Even if some of them didn't want unification, unified the galaxy. And here we are in the glorious 41st millennium, and everything's fine. As Guilliman said in that latest victory video, victory, they shouted from the highest spires. Victory, says the Inquisition, and victory, says the Ecclesiarchy. And victory, 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 as Guilliman said. Everything's fine. Tim Mayers is tuning in from Australia while hanging on, his feet dangling over the eternal abyss and trying to avoid being eaten by anything radioactive or poisoning. Good morning, Winters. Tuning in from Australia, and his next sentence is good morning, Winters. Tim Mayers. That is, if you're tuning in from Australia, after you say tuning in from Australia, the next sentence you need to put after that is good day, Winters. Otherwise, how do we know, Tim, that you're really in Australia? Maybe you're in Belgium. And who wants to go to Belgium? Great game yesterday. My Death Guard versus Black Templars. The great mortality continues to dominate the universe. Okay. Jimmy. Sorry, I was a bit behind. Okay. Okay, Miss Timms. Spaz Wars. Victory! Exactly. Which would be better? 40k is our distant future or our distant past? Well, if it's distant, I don't think it really matters either. Belgium has nice donuts, I hear. I went to Belgium. Look, I've been to Belgium a few times, actually. But when I was in uni, 1997, I remember the year because I made this huge poster with the thing. Anyway, I went on like a... me and my Chilean friend that I actually mentioned in the last live stream. He's from Chile, and for a year, he spent a year in Southampton University. Don't ask me why. He did. And me and him, best mates. And he was like, I don't understand you Brits, because I'm in fucking Chile, and I can't see Paris, Berlin, Amsterdam, the Swiss Alps. I can't go. You can just drive. There's a tunnel, which is shut right now. Brexit. And you can just go through the tunnel, and then you're in Venice, and then you're in Madrid, and then you're in McCrag. You're in all these wonderful places in Europe. I don't understand you Brits. You're like in this island, and you've got all that there, and you never go and see any of it. What the actual fuck? And I remember listening to him thinking, you know, you're not wrong. So in the summer of 1997, we packed a very few items of clothing and a rather large amount of beer in the back of the car. It was my first car. I'd only got my driving test like a year before. And it's 97 as well. You've got to remember that the internet wasn't really born at this stage. Well, it was, but it was bad. You know, it had you had to use a telephone line, and if someone else was on the telephone line, then you couldn't get on the internet. So it was in the dark ages. Yes, we had wheels. Fire had been invented, and we packed it all up and we drove. And we went where the muse took us. We searched high, we searched low. We went very high in Amsterdam, and we went very low in Belgium. I remember going to Brussels. And bear in mind, that was 1997, and that was like 25 years ago now, so it might have improved. They might have polished it up a bit. But we drove through Belgium, tried to stop in a few places and thought, no, we're going to get stabbed. And then went to Brussels and thought, we've got to go to Brussels, like heart of the European Union, all that sort of stuff, civilization, culture, shit like that. And I remember driving around and around and around and around and around thinking, this is a shithole. This is not a nice place to be. All the graffiti, all the litter, all the stuff, bombs, craters. There were gangs of guardsmen marching orcs down the street, prodding them along with shock poles. There was rivers of pollution with poxwalkers spinning on the rivers down in between. You got big street on this side, big street, and then the river was full of poxwalkers just floating by. There was, it was derelict. And then all of a sudden when we drove, it was like, boom, it got clean. And there was grass, and there were street lights, and there were less junkies, and there were policemen. And we're thinking, wow, this is a nice new part. And then we drove past the European Union headquarters. And it stayed like that for another couple of minutes until we got outside the radius of where they kept it clean and nice and pretty for all the people that visit there from all over the world. And then it turned into a right shithole again. And we came out the other side, and we're like, we're not stopping the car here, mate. Yeah. So, I've been to Brussels. I've been to Belgium a couple of times, but that was the first time. It sticks in my mind because driving from Paris into Belgium because we drove from Paris that day, and we stopped in Reims. We made it to Reims. Reims is a lovely place. Loads of military history around Reims. Milan, welcome to the 13th, tier 3. You have good taste. Thank you for becoming a channel member and unlocking all those extra videos and goodness content for you. Anyway, and we stopped in Reims because Reims, it's near the Belgium-France border, and there's loads of champagne there, so that's why we stopped. But also loads of military history, and checked that, and that was lovely. And then we drove into Belgium to find Belgium things to do other than waffles. And yeah, we stayed a night in a B&B somewhere, and then thought, sod this, and carried on and made sure we left that country. But I'm sure it's really nice now, and it can't be any worse than Wales. Who needs Venice, Paris, and Madrid? We have Swindon. Swindon is a shithole. Where are we? A Winter's 10th edition narrative mission pack would be cool. Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? They all drive on the wrong side of the road. It's crazy. I know. And they don't crash into each other. Bruges is a nice place in Belgium. I hear that. Obviously, that awesome movie with Thingy Bob came out in Bruges. Pardon, beer makes me burp. And that looks like... Well, it was a really good movie, and that looked like a place that we should have perhaps visited, but we didn't. The Grey Knights were the best part of that Angron book, which is a sad thing. Okay, right. Yeah. Lots of Mighty Ghosts. Well, now Colin Farrell. Yes, exactly, Colin Farrell. I recently watched The Gentleman again with Colin Farrell in it, who plays the coach. That's a 10 out of 10. Well, not 10 out of 10, but that's a good movie. Would recommend. So how are we all doing? 145 of you, 54 likes for 145 of you. Those are rookie numbers. Got to pump them up. Whoa now, says Monkey. Who have I insulted now? Monkey, have I insulted anyone in particular? I try to napalm death everyone when I'm insulting people, so I don't pick on people in particular. Was that the Wales thing? Is it because Wales? You've been to Swindon, mate. I can shit on Wales. You've been to Swindon. You know how bad this place is. One war-torn shithole to another. I like the Welsh people. You're all lovely. You in particular. And I don't like Swindon people at all. Oh dear. Well, with the exception of Sultan. There's an exception to every rule. Which standard unit from any faction do you think you could fight and win? Standard unit from any faction that I think I could fight and win. I think a Corn Lord on a Juggernaut is about just below my level. I could definitely pop a cap in his ass. I could put that brother down easy. Chaos Lord and Juggernaut. The Lord Invocatus on a Juggernaut. I mean, that might be a 1-1 draw. We might have to go for round 2. But that's sort of like where I'm at. You know, I would clearly out, you know, with the thing, and I'd do the thing. He'd come charging towards me like swinging the axe. The nails would be biting like that, swinging the axe, sorry. And the Juggernaut would be and he'd be coming at me, and he'd have like 28 attacks and stuff like that. But you know, a swift slap, and then he's off that mount. And what are you going to do? Curb stomp, bam! American History X out of the picture. Great movie. And he's down, I think. Easy, really. 1-2, slap, curb stomp, done. I played loads of Gears of War. I can curb stomp like the best of them. Northern Wales. What Spazwaz? Why are you doing Northern Wales with Pukey? I love Northern Wales. I spent a lot of time in my teenage years camping and roaming the mountains of Northern Wales. Machynlleth and Aberystwyth and all those sorts of places. Doesn't Swindon have the crazy roundabout? Yeah, it does. That's how shit this place is. It's famous for a fucking roundabout. Hemel Hempstead with the crazy roundabout, I think. No, it's Swindon. Swindon has the magic roundabout. Hemel Hempstead wishes they had roundabouts as crazy as Swindon has. They wish. But instead they've got a McDonald's distribution hub, which is pretty shit. But at least there's work there. There was work here until Honda shut down. Now there's no work here. You should walk around Swindon city centre, town centre on a Tuesday afternoon, and you can see the hollow desperation and weight of life dragging people down, holding them back like bad lies and yesterday's promises. It's a broken, smelly, sad place. Jimmy from Stoke. I take great offence. It's true. It doesn't need to be said, but we should keep that talk in house. No idea what you're talking about. I love the scenery in Wales, but I cannot get on with the... I love accents, Connor Woolrich. What are you talking about? Cannot get on with the accents. Anything that's different, anything that shines forth. Accents are great. Different foods are great. Different languages are great, different music's great, different ways of travel. When you go to a different supermarket, go to, like, my wife's Polish, so we go to supermarkets in Poland, and I love the little things, how it's just a little bit to the left, like through the scanner darkly to the left of how everything is in the UK. And of course in the UK she sees everything here it's slightly to the right of what, you know what I mean? It's the little things, and accents. Imagine if everyone sounded like me. What a goddamn nightmare. Marius Gage, thank you for the first donation of the evening. I appreciate you. You regularly drop the hammer, don't you? Like Queen, waiting for the hammer to fall. You're put in charge of choosing the War Master after the Triumph of Ullanor. Who are you choosing? Well, it's Horus or Sanguinius. It's one of those. And it had to be Horus, because Horus was first. It had to be him. Like in the End and the Death, it had to be him. But if I could choose, that's a cop-out answer. That's a cop-out answer. So if I could choose the War Master after... Okay, so here's the answer, actually. It's a good answer. It's a true answer. Alfredo Phillips gifted 10 memberships. Alfredo, you're a goddamn hero. Everyone, a warm round of applause. Thumbs up. Applause for Alfredo for being such a G. Come on, guys. Come on, community. Show him how much you love him. He's a great guy. But Marius, another great guy. I've got to answer your question. You're put in charge of choosing the War Master after the Triumph of Ullanor. Who would you choose? Now, here's a good answer for you. Like this one. So some of the other Primarks were like, it could have been Sanguinius. And even Horus said it should have been Sanguinius before he got stabbed by the blade. And in book 2 or something of the Horus Heresies, he was like, it could have been him. Even he talked about it because he was the best of them, Sanguinius. Now, hands in the air, thumbs ups, great stuff, guys. Thank you, community, for shouting out. Alfredo, I appreciate you. Now, here's the reason why it should have been him. Because 4 of the Primarks were chosen by Chaos and had traps set for them, and all of them fell to Chaos, except 1. Horus had the trap set to him, and there was a moon, and there was anathema, and there was a Chaos Temple, and fell. Fulgrim picked up a Xenos blade in the middle of a alien sex orgy and heard voices in his brain afterwards and thought the voices in the brain was the manifestation of his own Primarch perfection and started listening to them and fell. Mortarion held out for a really, really, really long time. He held out forever, but he fell. Sanguinius, the Cygnus cluster, was set for him. And in the thing that they did for Sanguinius, you literally in Fear to Tread, Sanguinius and his entire legion are fighting on the surface of hell. It's like Doom. Ever played the video game Doom? Dante's Inferno. There are mountains of skulls, there are rivers of blood, there are lakes of lava, and the blood angels are fighting demons on the surface of hell. Your biblical worst nightmare of what hell would look like. That's the Sigma cluster. Sigma cluster. They're fighting there. And Sanguinius didn't fall. The other 4 did. The other 3 did. He didn't fall. And so Khorne had to go back on his second choice, Angron, the worst Primarch ever. Well, one of the 3 worst Primarchs ever. We don't know about the other 2, which I've got some theories on. He didn't fall. And he was and Horus, therefore, the War Master, fell. And so if Sanguinius was the War Master and he didn't fall, then as an Imperial player at heart, the heresy could have played out very, very differently. Alfredo is dropped back in with another 10 gifted memberships, dropping the bomb. Thank you, Alfredo. Lots of hands. And look, Posima has already put hands in the air. Hands in the airs, thumbs up. Waving. Let's give Alfredo a big round of applause. So let's give him a warm hand on his entrance, because he's entered twice now and he is a goddamn hero. Winters, what is the most consequential mistake in all of 40k 30k? Most consequential, the Webway, destruction of the Webway project by Magnus the Red. Since then the Imperium has lost. And we lost the war 10,000 years ago, and we've been dying for 10,000 years. Dylan, £10 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your super donation. Dylan, challenge, impossible. Can you say 2 nice things about Erebus? Yes, I can. You need a villain of that you've got David Butler gifted 1 memberships. Woohoo! And thumbs up, hands. Everyone go wild. Poppers, hands in the air, thumbs up, things like that for David Butler. And this is going crazy. I love it. Yes, you need your villains. You need your Joffreys. You need your Darth Vaders. You need these guys. And Fabius Bal doesn't quite cut it because he's the mad. He's nice. We like Fabius. Lucius, he's an arsehole, but he's nice. Like Eric Cartman. Lucius is the Eric Cartman of 40k. You need someone who's just bad, who's just throbbingly bad, that everyone fucking hates except Wordbearers players, and that's Erebus. So he ticks that box. I appreciate that there's a character like that in it, and I appreciate that the authors didn't lean so heavily they could have made a lot of the bad guys and the chaos guys a whole not see hands in the air, there's explosions, there's things, appreciate it. So they could have filled the heresy full of these characters, but there's only a couple in there, and Erebus is the most egregious of these. So I like the fact that he's in there, and I like the fact that he stands alone in there. That's good. It's good. We need someone that we can say he's an arsehole, and it's Erebus. The other thing you can say about Erebus is Lorgar, another failed Primarch, was swayed by him, which tells you just how crap Lorgar is. I mean, can you imagine someone, Ezekiel and Zahariel, swaying the lion, or Raldoron swaying Sanguinius, or Sigismund saying, I believe in the Emperor now, he's a god, the Emperor is a god, and Rogel Dawn going, okay, it's not, no. The weakness of that laxspittle, that absolute waste of space that is Lorgar, and I like the fact that he is just so irredeemably rotten as well, is that, yeah, so the good things about Erebus is that we've got him, and he shows I guess, a couple of Primarks. I mean, we knew the weakness of Primarks, but he shows some of Lorgar's inner weaknesses, and Lorgar's inner, he wanted to believe, he needed to believe, you know, X-Files, I want to believe. That was Erebus with instead of the UFO in the background, some big spooky ghost. He had that in the background. I want to believe, and Erebus pushed him. So that's what I'd say about our evening hobbits. Evening, too true. Erebus, yeah, someone else agrees. Love the channel, Winters. I had to spread the love. Alfredo, thank you for spreading the love. Be careful if you spread the love too much in public, though. Make sure you use protection. Richard James, evening Winters, really enjoyed the recent AOS battle report. Great job, 8. Great job, 8. Okay. My friend, but thank you for your... I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being a fly on that wall. Spaz Wars, my friend doesn't know 40k, but he is born again Christian. I've enjoyed explaining 40k lore to him. Awesome. Okay. I really like the born-again religious types because they're so passionate. You know what I mean? Like, people who are raised with the religion, it's part of their life. It's part of their ABC. They go to church, or they do the Sabbath, or they don't eat between sunup and sundown for a bunch of days of the year. It's just part of the thing. But those that are born again, or those that come into the faith, or those that they really love it, they're like... Sigismund in heresy. They're choosing to dive headlong, and you can have some fascinating conversations with those sorts of people. Some really fascinating. It's remarkable. Like I said, I like all things. Where are we? Which dreadnought would you be best for you to pilot through your daily life? Well, the Brutalis. Got 2 hands. Got 2 hands. AOS report. That wasn't an April Fool's. No, of course not. It wasn't an April Fool's, which is why it wasn't released on the 1st of April, and which is why I'm never doing another one again, except for maybe next year on the 1st of April. He's also a 40-day Adventist. I don't even know what that means. Who is your favourite Imperial Guard character in the 40k universe? Gaunt. Gaunt's Ghosts. Easy. You know, line that one up. Easy. It's just easy. There was something I wanted to talk about at the start. Am I sweating already? No, not that bad. There was something I wanted to talk about at the start of the stream, and I completely forgot what it was. Was anyone here at the beginning of the stream and remembered what it was? I forgot what it was. We don't have to talk about it. It's just that not all Pearson. No, Gaunt. Have you read Gaunt's Ghosts? Who is your favourite Imperial Fist? Well, in the Horus Heresy, in these books, Eternal Warrior is really rare. Like the Primarks get it, but Sigismund has got it, and he's an Imperial Fist. I don't know. Sigismund probably. Mr. Vertica, thank you for your 5 minutes membership. 2nd and 11th Legions. Boom! Dropping it like it hot. You were here since the beginning. So, yeah, let's talk about the 2nd and 11th Primarks, the Legions. Okay? So, are you ready for this? Now, I was chatting away the other night, a couple of days ago, with my mate Grey Knight SEO, and we were talking about the Lost Legions, and he had a theory, and he talked about apothecaries, and he talked about scientists, and he talked about this and this. He said loads of ideas, and this inspired me and led me to a debate with him about one of the Lost Legions. I'm going to have to ignore the chat for a moment, talk amongst yourselves. So one of the Lost Legions, and we debated and we talked and he had a good idea about, anyway, it evolved, and I put forward my case, and he went, yeah, and I've thought about it since then. So this is my theory on one of the Lost Legions that came out of a conversation with my friend where he went, yeah, and I think this has got some weight to it. So all the legions are bred to do a thing, to specialize in a certain area. Now, some of them might be broad enough that their area is galactic conquest, destroy entire, not just systems, but sectors. And there are many sector destructive forces, legions out there that are just designed to destroy or comply or unify. In fact, as Horus said in the End of the Death, we made more peace than war. And these would be Blood Angels and Ultramarines and Sons of Horus and things like that. Legions that are just meant to go and do what they do. Others, all of them can do that, and all of them were designed to do that to a greater or lesser extent. Some of them were only designed to do that, but some of them were also designed along the lines of certain specialities. So the easiest one to think of is the Thousand Sons and their specialism in esoteric knowledge and knowledge in general, philosophy, history, art, and philosophy, history, and all the knowledges that humanity could have. And within all the knowledges humanity could have is the subset of the knowledge of the warp. And there grew the Corvidae. They weren't all magicians. Many of them were, and then you have some that were designed just to execute, just to destroy, like World Eaters and Space Wolves. They were just, nothing is left standard after we've gone through this place. They are extinction level events. Some were designed to go faster. Some were designed to be the SAS. Some were designed to build walls. Some were designed to tear down walls. All the legions had a function. But there's a couple of gaps when we look at when we look at not just modern history, but when we look at the function of militaries in time. And I've been listening to a lot of Fall of Empires podcast. Is it the Fall of Empires? Yeah, the Fall of Empires podcast on YouTube. 10 out of 10, recommend. Anyway, there's ways armies, forces, military, industrial complexes function regardless of space, time, age, geographical location, blah, blah, blah. Within them, you have, as well as the ones that are the CIA and the SAS and the fast ones and the build walls, and you have other functions as well. And one of them is test out all the weapons and make sure they're all good. You have the test pilots, you have the test this, test that. So that gap isn't there. First Legion, they did that. Deathwing, Firewing, Ironwing, they did that. We had that period. So you can say that that period's gone. But within the military thing, you do still have engineers, scientists, thinkers, not just within a certain legion or a phalanx or a Roman phalanx or within a Space Marine legion. That you also have a type of engineers, thinkers, scientists that are to one side, and these are the guys that are working on the tech, trying to develop new tech, trying to break the old tech is most of what they do. Also trying to build bridges, tear down bridges, Royal Engineering Corps, REMI. But you have them going all the way back to the Roman times, and the Roman Legion were just as good at building roads and building massive fortresses. Just ask Vercingetorix. Just as good as doing that as they were of stabbing people again and again and again. There's a specialism inside the military to make the military better at being military. And there's a gap of that gap exists in the legions. Now, within the legions themselves, they have tech marines and they have the esoterists. If they follow any of the librarius disciplines, they have the military analysis. They have the specialists to look at all the info, particularly if they're Alpha Legion. They have bits of these. They have bits of the engineering, bits of the scientists woven throughout the legions themselves. But surely there should be a legion in itself that were the tech specialists. And I'm not talking Iron Hands, I'm not talking Iron Warriors, I'm not talking Tech Marine. I'm talking about, okay, I've got a legion like the Alpha Legion, and they are a thinking legion. They will win wars before an entire shot has been shot. I've got the SAS, I've got the Raven Guard, and they will win wars by doing guerrilla tactics or behind enemy lines or surgical strikes before more than 1,000 shots are shot. I've got the thinking guys with 1,000 suns looking at the warp and philosophy and history and science and things like that. There's a gap there for a legion that are a legion of engineers. We've got thinkers for 1,000 suns. We've got thinkers for Alpha Legion. We've got thinkers for Raven Guard. And of course, thinkers, practical, theoretical, ultramarines, things like that. But people who are genetically engineered from the ground up to be super soldiers and think about engineering better ways of war with the weapons that they have, modifying them, making new weapons, looking for STCs, looking for old archaeotech. And you got to remember as well, in the time of the Horus Heresy, that invention and stuff like that was outlawed through in the Mechanicum, but it wasn't in the remainder of the Imperium. The Imperium was a Cerberus. It was a two-headed beast. You had the Pax Mechanicum, where Terra said, we're not going to get involved in any of your shit. You can believe in what you want to believe and do what you want to do, and you do you. But there was still a lot of invention and a lot of techno stuff, which would be considered techno heresy today, which was not considered techno heresy back then. They still believed in science and they had remembrances way back. When you talk about the remembrances, there's in the Sanguinius book, for example, there's a remembrance in there who, in the new Sanguinius novel, I think it came out this year, he got sanctioned later on, but he talks about his original work was a critique of the Night Lords and the World Eaters and stuff like that, back when you were allowed to critique about these things. You were allowed critical thinking, you were allowed invention, you were allowed to ask the hard questions. Particularly, we're not talking about Horus Heresy time, 200 years into the Great Crusade, particularly towards the start. Innovation was championed and celebrated, and it wasn't just the 41st millennium Mechanicum mindset of finding, there's no point, here's the Mechanicum's point of view, or the Mechanicus' point of view, there's no point in inventing anything. Well, this is one of their points of views. Do it as quickly as I can. The Mechanicus don't believe in inventing anything, because all knowledge already exists and you just have to find it. And they're proven time and time again this is correct. Like, there's no point in me trying to improve this, because I open this drawer here and I find something which slaps on my, and it's like something from Blade Runner, and it's 10 times, it is an order of magnitude. It's a thing that I put on, stick that there, boom. And it does everything this does, but 10 times better, with a screen in front of me that floats around. I can just think, and it's an order of magnitude beyond the technology. So what's the point in discovering or inventing or that's one of their raison d'etres. That's one of the but that's then. The Big E, he was a great scientist and geneticist, and so was Malcador. Malcador was trying to retain all the lost knowledge that previously existed, and engineering and science and development and experimentation and looking at the bounds of what we have right now and trying to make it better and more effective. There seems to be a legion-shaped gap for that. If he if he invented a legion, and he did, called the 20th Legion, which was designed to operate behind enemy lines and know things that, in the Alfarius book, you're supposed to... Malcador teaches Alfarius to hide things even from Malcador and the Emperor. That was the point of Alfarius. We want you to be the hidden blade, so hidden, so deadly, that you're even able to hide from me. And as Malcador says, no, that you're even able to hide from him, keep it from him. So that was part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. He invented a force that would go faster and further and harder and deeper than any other legion. That it was 3 years into the heresy before they found out shit went down. He developed a legion whose Primarch wasn't really human. I mean, none of them were, but wasn't really mortal or made of space and time at all. Wasn't really, Magnus in the book Thousand Suns by Graham McNeil, when he appears through a warp portal, or when he does this and when he does that, every now and then people get a look of his real face, and it's basically an elemental being that compresses itself into a body of flesh and bone every now and then to fool people around it. That really is a body of flesh and bone. But Magnus is not a thing of flesh and bone. And Magnus, before he was even born, had vast conversations with the Emperor and flew on the winds of the warp with him and chatted to him about life, the universe, and everything. If he invented that and that and that and that, why is there not a Primarch who takes a look around them and says, right, how can we do this shit better? And that's his raison d'etre. That's his, how can I make that ship go faster? How can I make this thing shoot harder? How can I make this? There needs to be a legion of engineers and scientists and gene wrights, people who... That's part of the modern military thing right now. And when we look across the different types of legionaries and the different types of legions and the different types of Primarchs that exist, it seems to me that every single gap seems to be filled. He's got lots and lots and lots of the I'll fuck you up. He's got lots and lots and lots of the system destruction dudes, the I can take over an entire sector. I'm the Ultramarines. I can take over an entire sector. I'm the Blood Angels. He's got lots of them, and he's got lots of very specific ones. And then he's got lots of very broad ones, and then he's got lots of very specific ones to fill the gaps. And it seems to me that there is an engineering, there is an Elon Musk, there is a Isambard Kingdom Brunel, there is a, Dyson, there's a that shaped gap in the legion, in the legions. And I think one of the legions, Lost Legions, must, or surely must, let's not say must, one of the Lost Legions surely must have filled that gap. I'm writing this down because I don't want to miss the point. Because Marius Gage has dropped another, and I was going somewhere with that. But Marius, thank you for your donation. Were not the salamanders the builders of tech? Seers, Vault, and Nocturne, full of creation. Yeah, exactly. So the salamanders were smiths, and the Iron Hands also were very, very good with tech. But that wasn't their point. The salamanders' point was salamanders were really good for attritional warfare. So some of the legions were built to just survive no matter what gets thrown at them. Death Guard, Iron Hands, Iron Endures, and salamanders as well, particularly high radiation, high heat zones. So they were designed for that purpose, and they were also artisans. A lot of legions have dual personality. It wasn't just one thing. Like Blood Angels, big on the art. Emperor's Children, big on the art. But the Salamanders were very good they were artisans and very good at making some of the finest technology ever. And the Iron Hands, and many others. But the Salamander's main function was hostile warfare and interconnected warfare. I did, if you ever, I'm sure you have, because you're a great follower and a great member of the community. But I'm sure you've seen the STCs. I've done 2 STCs with Warsmith Chris, and one is the Lost. I forget what I called it. Was like the Legions and the Primarks Part 1 to 10, and the Legions and the Primarks Part 2 1 to 10. I went into the Salamanders in a bit of depth. But they were designed to do a thing, and they could. What do you say? Full of creations and works. They can do full creations and works as well, but that wasn't their thing. Like the Alpha Legion were designed to do a thing. They're the James Bond. They're the CIA. They're the guys that get behind enemy lines. They can fight as a Legion as well, and when the Alpha Legion fight, they tend to do guerrilla warfare, partisan warfare. They'll do the James Bond thing over here, the James Bond thing over here. If they were Alpha Legion were operating throughout the Second World War, then they'd be doing all the bits behind all the spy stuff here or there. And when they operated at Legion strength, there'd be a partisan force in the Polish forests and fighting against the Nazis and then against the Red Army. Or there'd be the Libertatis force in Spain. They'd be doing these things. That's how they would function when they functioned as a Legion. So the Engineering Legion could still function as a Legion, but their main role would be to understand, to explore, to develop, and to improve the tech that all Legions use. Because scientific exploration and experimentation was not banned by the Emperor. And yeah, so I think that Legion gap exists, and the thing that makes this beautiful is it's easy to see why, if there was second order, it's easy to see why this Legion was destroyed and wiped out of the record pretty much straight away, because clearly this Legion would cause, if there was an engineering science Legion, if there was a Legion of Space Marines whose sole purpose was, as well as waging war and destroying people and fucking people up, was also to try and improve all the tools that Space Marines have around them all the time, and to experiment and make new ones and to discover new ones. A Legion of Tech Marines, a Legion of Scientists, a Legion of Apothecaries and Gene Wrights. If there was a Legion like that, very, very quickly they would run into ideological differences with Mars and the Mechanicum and the Pax Mechanica between Terra and Mars would be strained very quickly at the very outset of the Great Crusade. So not only does it fill a Legion-shaped gap as far as I'm concerned, but it also, like, what happened to them? Why did they go? And it also immediately, if you put them in place, the lore also tells you that they have to die pretty quickly or get removed from the equation very quickly. Because at first it would be okay, particularly before Mars, but within a short period of time, it's going to cause all sorts of tensions, and there's all sorts of lore and there's all sorts of intrigue and all sorts of shit that could happen between them and Mars very quickly, and so they would stop that. That's one. Also, you could push it a bit further if you're a Black Library writer and say, not only did it cause all this tension and politics and something had to be done at some point. I mean, look at the Council of Nicaea. Something had to be done at some point about the Librarius project. Another title for the Council of Nicaea is the Trial of Magnus the Red. Something had to be done about that arsehole at some point. He did very many things wrong. And they had a whole trial about it. Not only would it cause tension, this Legion that I'm proposing, but if you're a Black Library writer, you could spin it out so that there was tragedy and horrors and other things and heresy and tech heresy. You could easily see how that shit could go badly. Hey, let's get this thing from the warp, because remember, a lot of them didn't know really what the warp was or demons were. Some of them did. Some of them had ideas. I mean, Horus in the very first book says, well, there's a place called the warp and it's full of demons, but they're not really demons. They're more like interdimensional beings that exist in the second realm. That's one of the ways that they justified it to them. It wasn't like, here's hell and we fly through it. It wasn't like that. It's like, here's a fourth dimension and there's beings in it and stuff, but it's kind of like a Xenos thing. Well, back then, if it's kind of like a Xenos thing and it's a fourth dimension and there's beings in it, I'm going to grab one of them, I'm going to stick it inside this engine, boom, and then I'm going to make this monster machine with the thing. You can see how it could go really badly, really quick. So not only would it pull apart the things between Mars and Terra very quickly, but you can just turn the dial up to 11 or 12 or 13 and make that shit go really bad, really quickly, with all sorts of horrors, if you needed it to, for a Black Library book. I hope you're listening to me, Dan Abner. Please, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. But this would make a perfect novel. And, yeah, they could be gone by the first or second or third decade. They could be gone quick. It's like, hey, I got this idea. Also, another reason why the Emperor might set up a legion like that is because, say, at the start of things, at the heart of things, the Pax Mechanica with Mars was fragile. It was so fragile that Mars broke apart into the Dark Mechanicum and the ones that followed the Omnissiah. They were the ones that believed that the Emperor of Mankind is the Omnissiah. They're the loyalists. They stayed out. The Emperor of Mankind is the Omnissiah. He is it. I'm following him. And the Dark Mechanicum were like, well, is he? And they didn't. And it broke apart right next to Terra. I mean, Mars, you can see it if you look out the window. There's a red spot in the sky. I don't know where it is right now, but you can see Mars. It's that close. And when the heresy kicked off, half of them went, woo! And sort of like, fuck that guy, and went off on their own. So you can see that they were kind of like hanging out, ready to break apart already. Just imagine how unstable. Well, that gives you some idea of how unstable the foundation is or was between the Emperor of Mankind and Kalbor Hal and the High Magos of Mars. It was very, very unstable. So unstable that without a demon coming along and stabbing someone, or without being trapped in the warp forever by Typhus because he's an arsehole, without any of these traps and pitfalls being set, the Kalbor Hal went, well, screw that guy. I've got some STCs. I'll take that. And you want me to unlock the vaults of Moriah? Yeah, okay, let's go. They churned real quick. So it's very easy to see how the Emperor would have, could have, should have made a legion and a Primarch who is a genius, an engineering genius, and a whole legion using his gene seed to engineer their way out of this shit. You know, like Matt Damon on like the Mars thing. What's the Mars film? There's Matt Damon. He's trapped on Mars. The Martian. There you go. It's in the title. And he's on Mars and he's got to get home. And I'm going to engineer the shit out of it. You need that guy. So you need, imagine if there were hundreds of thousands of Matt Damons and a Matt Damon Primarch. And the Matt Damon Primarch would engineer the shit out of it. Engineer the shit out of any situation he happens to be in. You can see the reason why the Emperor of Mankind would probably build that guy. And also, let's face it, the Emperor of Mankind likes to have chats every now and then, share with people, share with Malcador, share with Valdor, share with Magnus while he was still in the womb, in his gestation pod, before he spat out on Prospero. He liked to chat. He would have probably had a really good conversation with this guy about the future plans and this, that, and the other, and the fact that, hey, I've made you just in case Mars goes absolutely nuts and doesn't help me, and they unleash their god engines on me, and this, that, and the other, and I need Mars to do the conquest. I need Mars to bring the whole galaxy together, and if Mars says, fuck you, then I'll use you instead. Mars didn't say, fuck you, so I'm afraid, you're dead. Bye, son. And that was one of the lost Primarks. John Battle 8, thank you for being a member for so long. What if, when they were found, the Lost Legion of Engineers had started to perfect AI and AI... Exactly. What if they had started to perfect AI and AI combat constructs without a human failsafe? Exactly. Say they started playing around with abominable intelligence a bit. Yeah, on Terra back then, that could have definitely been a thing. And they didn't have to fuck around with demons. They could have fucked around with AI a little bit. And before you know it, it just makes sense. It just seems there's a gap. There's the engineering gap. Because engineers exist in modern militaries, and engineers exist in all militaries ever, back to the Assyrians. Like I said, I'm listening to the Fall of Erebus podcast, and I'm in the Assyrians, and they were the first, it's argued, as far as we know, one of the first professional armies, and they had their engineering corps. And then all the legions have their tech marines and their... But wouldn't you have something that stands apart if you're the emperor? Because he made Magnus stand apart, he made other Khan stand apart, he made Alpharius stand apart, he made them... It just seems like there's that gap there. And it also, as soon as you put that gap in place, it also seems like all sorts of problems could spring up because of that, and therefore they're not there anymore. Now, having said all that, I know Dan Abnett said in an interview that he doesn't want to write about them, and that one of the enduring mysteries of Warhammer 40k is that we don't know what happened to the 2 lost legions. And if Dan Abnett says one of the enduring features about Warhammer 40k is they'll forever remain a mystery, how can I argue with Darren? How can I argue with Dan? How can I argue with him? Well, let's try. Dan, you're right. 50% of the time, 100% of the time. Dan, only one of them needs to become an enduring mystery that we never unlock. Like, what happened to that other guy? Oh, we finally found out about Bob, but what about Timmy? We never find out about Timmy. We only know about Bob. Your argument that you put forward for the 2 lost legions is 100% sound, and I agree with you, Dan, in all things. Some mystery boxes need to remain mystery boxes. Some secrets should never be revealed. Some blanks should never be filled in because it's better that way. It's juicier that way. It allows conversations like this to happen. And if you fill in the blanks, then those conversations go away. But there are 2 blanks. You can fill in 1. You know what I mean? Some of that was rude. Fabius Bile, Black Library should hire you for material. Fabius, I appreciate you, and thank you for being a member. A mega member. You're one of my mega members. Black Library should hire me for material. I think they've got much, much better people than me. But, yeah. They could sign me on as an executive consultant. I've said before, I only charge $1 million an hour. Where are we? Once GW brought back Loyalist Primarks to 40k, all bets are off for the future, far future. Maybe the 11th Legion was Xenos Gene Seed. Maybe. Do you think bringing back, filling in one of the Lost Legions is the ultimate failsafe? No. The ultimate failsafe for 40k start of the drop is the Return of the Emperor. Come on now. So they're bringing back the Primarks, all of them. And they've got a good 10-15 years to go before they all come back. And why are they doing that? Well, the Horus Heresy is so successful. It's in the New York Times bestseller, and it spawned a whole game. So, like, take some of that, put that in 40k. That's really successful. Let's put some of that here. Let's stir some of that juice in that juicy pot with the Primarks, with 40k, and let's go hard at this. And they are. And they've got 10-15 years. They've got more than a decade of Primark juice, probably 2 decades of Primark juicy material. But their break glass in case of emergency is the Return of the Emperor of Mankind. And not a lost Primark. I mean, you've got to be pretty You've got to be in the hobby to know that there's 2 legions without legions. There's 2 Primarks who don't get talked about at parties. The other Primarks gathered round. They had a good natter here or there. Shared some cheese and onion on sticks. Do Americans have that? You know, like the cheese and the pineapple on the stick. Do Americans have that? I don't know. But Chase shared some cheese and pineapple on sticks. And they didn't talk to the 2 in the corner because gone soon. So you've got to be in the hobby to know that. If you're outside of the hobby, you still probably know about the Emperor of Mankind and you probably think he's Henry Cavill. But yeah, so their break class in case of emergency is the Emperor of Mankind. Where are we? I heard the Emperor of Man came from Swindon. No. There I read on Reddit. The second Primarch did something which made him be nuked by the Emperor. That shocked and disgusted the others. The 11th Primarch came to his defense and got nuked in turn. No one really knows. We do know that one of the destroyed legions was destroyed by the wolves. We know that because in Prospero Burns, when the wolves are unleashed upon the Thousand Sons, Liminara says this has been done before. Isn't it the exact words he uses? I think that's the exact words he uses, something like that. But the Emperor's executioners executing a legion has been done before. He could, that's an open sentence. It could have been done a couple of times before, but at least we know it's been done once. That's all we know. What would the Emperor's data sheet look like? Movement characteristics of infinity, strength infinity, toughness infinity, leadership infinity. His special rule is this character knows all the special rules of all the things ever, and don't look at him directly in the eye or he'll make your bumhole bleed. Having members of the Alpha Legion potentially still under terror in the 41st millennium. The Alpha Legion are everywhere. Subject 11 being in the Hallowed Vaults is in the Custodes Codex, Dave. No, it's not. Subject 11 being in the Hallowed Vaults is in the Custodes Codex. You're correct. Subject 11. But we don't know who Subject 11 is. Calling it Subject 11, and they don't call it Subject 11, they call it Subject X1, which it's extremely invocative of one of the Lost Primarchs, right? The 11th Primarch. That's what they're trying. They're saying, there's a sentence where it's like, this is in the Lost Vaults, this is in the Lost Vaults. There is the potato peel of Antioch, the holy hand grenade of Antioch, the left nut of someone, and Subject 11 in the Shadowed Vaults. And then the internet was like, oh my god, or the community was like, oh my god, that's probably the 11th Primarch. And that's definitely what they're trying to hint at there, that he is locked, that one of the Primarchs is locked up in the Shadow Vaults on Terra. Yes, but it's one of those vague references that if the Games Workshop may never revisit, or one of those shadowly references which, give it 10 years time, might turn into a whole new heresy, because that's how the heresy started off. It was just like a throwaway bits on the back of the box for the original Adeptus Titanicus game. That was it, and then here we are. So whether that becomes a thing or whether that's it's yes. Abaddon Sword can defeat the Emperor, apparently. Really don't like that. Drachnian, Echo of the First Murder. Drachnian went up against the Emperor in the Emperor of Mankind book before he was a sword. And the Emperor fucked him then. Spoiler, the Emperor didn't die from that fight between Drachnian and the Emperor. He's still alive and made it to the Solar War to fight Abaddon. So, he can hurt him. The Emperor can get hurt. We have established that at various places in the lore. The Emperor can be hurt because, above all things, he is just a man. How's the Heretic Guard going? Badly. Anyway, that was my rant about what I think one of the Lost Legions is. What do you guys think? I saw it scrolling while I was trying to hold on to the thought and follow it through to the end. So is there anyone here who heard the whole thing who wants to now throw back some questions and comments? Because let's test this theory. Is this a good theory? Good theory. Is it making sense? Am I making sense? Is this resonating at least? Horus saved the Emperor from orcs. He did. Yeah. But if Horus could nearly kill the Emperor, well, you got to imagine by the time we get to the Solar War, it's not Horus versus the Emperor. Horus is the vessel in which the 4 Chaos Gods have poured themselves to win this war. Horus is not necessarily an avatar, but he is the chosen emissary and embodiment of the ruinous powers. It's light versus dark. It's good versus evil. It's all the classic ancient Greco-Roman crap turned up to 11. Well, I like it. The Salamanders might have been the backup to them. Their affinity for creating stuff not being their raison d'etre. But it's secondary to that. It holds water. Yeah, I mean, the Iron Warriors also they created loads of things as well. Like, Perturabo solved, perpetual motion. One of the Lost Legions was full of women. GW pulled it because of neckbeards, and incels would burn down their offices in outrage. Don't get started, Monkey, on women in Space Marines. Please. Because neckbeards and incels will get very, very upset. But there's also a big counterpoint to say, what about men in the Adeptus Sororitas? Why can't men become Adeptus Sororitas? There's law reasons for that now. Just now not at the start. There were female Space Marines at the start. But not now. Anyway, and Sisters of Silence have no men in it. I mean, there's 2 whole things. I like the idea that Warhammer 40k pisses people off, and it's grim and it's dark, and fuck you and deal with it. I like that. And there are clear borders around the Sisters of Silence. There are clear borders around what works in the Adeptus Sororitas, and you can't fuck with that. And if you did, you'd break that canon. I like that. And then I'm not going to even go into female Space Marines because, oh my god, grenade, pin, over the fence, people go nuts. And then whatever I say will get clipped and put on Reddit tomorrow. So, but thanks, Monkey, friend, for bringing that up in my chat. I appreciate you. Winter's SEO talks much sense, even if we can't understand it on our mortal plane. The bobbins. Thanks, mate. Thanks for getting my back. Monkey sometimes had my back, but sometimes he's stabbing me in the back. You know, you got your mates get your back. Sullivan Gilbert's in his house. Hi, Orcs will be back for another swing at the Big Emu. Okay. Maris Gage, danger, Winters, abandoned. I know, exactly. Might be a silly question, but where do the Legion of the Damned fit in? That's a whole other conversation. We'll try and hit that one, but that is a good point. Watch the Luton video, explains it all. Jink, Drakari, or men, women, another are welcome. Exactly. Would it be okay to have relations? What have you been painting, Winters? Can see black. Yeah, halfway through finishing Lucius, the flawless blade for it's a really good model, and I can't make this camera do what this. He's nearly done. Lucius, the flawless blade for Horus Heresy. Monkey, always love a hand grenade. You wanker, thanks. Wise to see, yeah. Fabius Bile. So, Fabius is looking to clone the Emperor, and to do that he is grabbing genetic material from all the legions. Fabius will eventually find some from one of the lost legions and clone one of them. Okay. Jordan Davies. First time being able to watch this live. Sorry about that. It's probably better on repeat after the fact. Love the battle reports and live streams. Keep up the great work and being one of the best content creators out there for Warhammer 40k. Much love. One of the best. Greetings, Mr. Wizards. I need one Necron book to read. Which would you recommend? Now, Mr. Potato, but I wouldn't recommend any because my tastes. I'm an Imperial player at heart. However, lots of people have said the Infinite and Divine is really good. Check out the Infinite and the Divine. A lot of people recommend that. Now, my problem with that book and Necron books in general is in Black Library, Necrons are very human. Their thoughts, their motivations, their feelings, their stuff. Yes, they'll have an argument which will last 100 years or 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years. Yes, cryptex put on plays that last 12 years. Yes, they do all sorts of weird things with time and space. Yes, the Necrons are, but their motivations. See, Phil Kelly did the Way of the Seer, the Way of the did a series with Eldari, and the good thing about that series, it wasn't a great series, but the good thing about that series was he made Eldari feel alien. He made them feel like, oh, these are not human. They're thinking a little bit differently and responding a little bit differently to how humans would respond. And Brutal but Cunning is another good example. Or Orc books. My problems with Necrons in Black Library is they just feel like very, very old, long-lived humans. And they're alien. And I don't like that. So I don't get on with any of the Necron books that I've read. However, if you're just looking for a good read and you don't get that lower, you don't mind, those sort of layers for me. I want my aliens to be aliens. I want to, yeah. Anyway, so Infinite and Divine. Andy Horner, evening all, what have I missed? Well, Andy, we have just discussed one of the lost Primarks and one of the lost legions, and everyone in the chat agreed that I was a genius and everything I said was completely correct, and I should be hired by the Black Library and write a book, because clearly I've unlocked one of the puzzles to the whole history of Warhammer 40k, and it made perfect sense, and it fits. But you missed so much, honestly. Yeah, it's just other people in the chat right now are like, we know what's going on, but Andy doesn't. Other people in the chat are like, yeah, this was amazing. Winters was a genius, but you don't. Other people are like, I've got an ice cream. I've got an ice cream. But Andy doesn't. So, I'm sorry, Andy. Sometimes it sucks to feel left out. But that's what you missed. You asked. I'm just starting a Grey Knight's boarding patrol. Are their power weapons always blue in the lore? No. Their power weapons can change all sorts of different colours. They're blue in the artwork, but in the lore they've been described to shine red or green or all sorts of different colours. You can make your power weapons whatever colour you want your power weapons to be. Trying to give Space Marines with no fear personality in a book is a tough sell. What? Writing a POV for Silas Roberts, the recipe for that. Yeah. Thank you for the input, sir. Much appreciated. Okay. Hear him as well. Okay, fine. That's pretty. You know that rant I was going on about there, Andy, about like this is what you missed and blah blah blah. And the reason why I dragged it out is because I was hoping that a number of people in the chat would jump forward and say, "Yeah, Winters, yeah, you missed it," but no one. Marius Gay says it was pretty solid. My mind was blown. Thanks, Marius. Hey Winters, I heard you won a trophy once. Did you? Who did you hear that from? I try to be humble. I I haven't mentioned the trophy. I don't think I've mentioned the trophy at all. So someone must have spilled some beans. But yeah, I've climbed that mountain. I try not to talk about it. I mean, I could climb it again easily. I've been there already. I've got the climbing equipment and everything. My Kendall mint cake. I could climb that mountain. But why bother? You've climbed it once. I mean, you climb it every season. I could climb it next season. And then the season after that. And then the season after that. But then I climbed that mountain back and forth in 5th edition. I climbed it back then. Back before there was an internet and everyone knew what a tactical genius I was. There's a skill gap in this game. There's a skill gap. And then there's you mind the gap, and then there's me. So I try to be humble. What trophy, says Sangrini got? I can get it if you want, but I try and do you sleep hugging that unintentioned, unmentioned and untold trophy? No. Well, no. When I sleep, I hug my pussy. Aussie, Winters is indeed wise, but one of the Lost Legions theory doesn't do it for me. I'll get me a coat. It's okay, we're allowed dissenters. You are allowed to dissent, Aussie. I'm just putting your name on the list. Aussie. You know what would have been more useful to me, Aussie? Rather than you saying, yeah, but no, but yeah, but no. Why it doesn't do for you would be more useful to me. Rather than saying, fuck you, I'm going home. You know, it would be more useful. But that's why you're on the list. If you actually gave me a reason, then I wouldn't have put you on the list. But you're now... Do you want to see the list? It's a list of 1 and your name is on it. Aussie. I'm typing and deleting Y. Why you see if you can't look? It's just say it, Aussie. Just say it. You don't need to delete it. You're like, oh, I better not say that. No, just say it. I mean, Monkey, my friend, was in here and he chucked the female Space Marines hand grenade over there. We might as well talk about religion or politics or something while we're throwing hand grenades around. Let's just blow up this chat and turn it into all sorts of things that are real worldish rather than a faraway stream on a faraway planet where we're all having fun and getting drunk. Type fast, Aussie. I'm inarticulate. Oh no, Aussie. See, the chat now wants to hear. Everyone, I believe in you, Aussie. You got this, says Mr. Potato Butt. We're waiting, Aussie. Scott Pilgrim versus the world, or Aussie versus the world. Controversy equals clicks. I'm helping. You're fucking not, though, are you, Monkey? Controversy equals clicks. I'm helping. No, that is not helping. Controversy equals clips for people who love clickbait, like, I don't know, chapter bottom spam rack or Mikey Hellstorm, Henry Cavell, whatever. You know, the people who charge after clickbait. You know, the people who say, hey, this is coming out, you know, them. That's not me. It's too exhausting chasing after all those things. And also, you have to keep your eye on what's going on. And I don't have a clue what's going on most of the time. I get messages on my phone from Games Workshop every now and then, and that's all I know. And mainly, I get messages on my phone from my wonderful community, which you can join by becoming a Tier 3 channel member. Apart from that, no fucking clue. So, clickbait, I don't want any part of that. Monkey, be sure to like and subscribe Neckbeards. Well, if you'd have left out the Neckbeards part, Monkey, just please be sure to like and subscribe, and then you go and slap him in the face. Aussie, where's the thing, Aussie? We're waiting. No pressure, Aussie, says Big Slice Bob. Steady Break, thank you for your donation. I appreciate you. Hopefully you'll talk some sense to the masses. How easy is law to you? All your armies have law, but does that come to you naturally? Or do you have an aesthetic and go from there? Or do you go law and go aesthetic? That's a good question. And the answer is aesthetic first, actually. So, for example, with the Cadian dynasty for the Necrons, I just wanted a Necron force, a Necron dynasty. What it was These are my gym jams, okay? I'm cock locked and ready to rock for bed. I saw this at Warhammer World for the first time in the flesh, and I was like, I gotta get me that. It's just a gorgeous goddamn model. And that kicked off all the Necrons, and then I ended up, by the end of last year, 8,700 points of Necrons. There's a really good video about it. You can go and check. And then the lore came, and there's more lore about the Cadian dynasty in my brain. And then Marduk the Seer, and there's a few things. And the 13th as well, the lore came after the aesthetic. And Designate 17, and the Penitent Forge, the lore came after the aesthetic. So how easy is lore to you? It's... Your armies have lore, but does that come to you naturally? It does come to me naturally, but yeah, it does come to me naturally. I guess it's relatively... I build up a force, I build up a faction over time, and I enjoy collecting and playing and painting with my toy soldiers, except for those toy soldiers that are painted by other people, which are only half, maybe. But I enjoy... And then the lore comes to me as part of the thing. So... yeah, I know some people start lore first and then go, but I go collection first and models first. And then as I'm collecting and as I'm painting and as I'm modeling and as I'm sitting and as I'm listening to Black Library or another awesome Winter's SEO battle report while I'm painting away, then the lore just pours into my brain like penguins into the ocean. Can we have an Aussie countdown? Do you think anyone writes books about our universe in the distant future? Nice. Winter's Grudge book caused by his exposure to AOS? Nice. Aussie. Brain Legion. I don't see a legion of Marines in lab coats dedicated to being hunkered over a Bunsen burner with their lab partner, squad mates, grinding a mortar and pestle. I'm not sure that's what. Okay. Well, I know that's being hyperbolic, and I know I was being hyperbolic, but it wasn't it's not about lab. The engineering core is a part of modern military and has been a part of historical military forever. Just like having special forces, Raven Guard is a part of modern military and has been a part, that's a part of the military complex. And CIA and Special Forces and the Outriders and the Castlewood Skills and the Cast, they're all part of the military complex. And having the Royal Engineers or having an engineering... So here's the military complex, and within that you've got the specialists, and they became a legion. Within that, you've got the Speed Freaks, and they became a legion. Within that, you've got the Castellans, and they became a legion. Within that, you've got the Sappers, and they became a legion. Within that, you've got the... I'm running out of... You know what I mean? And within that, you've got the engineering, and they didn't. They're still all part of the modern military. They're still all Space Marines. They're still all legionaries. And the bulk of the legionaries is Guilliman and Blood Angels and all the guys that, is the Sons of Horus, is all the sector-wide destructive main. But you've got the other parts of it's not a legion of lab coats. It's the Emperor, the 18 Primarks that exist all exemplify parts of the military machine that we see today and that we saw in 2000 BC. All of them. And there are gaps. And one of the gaps is the engineering core. I would also say, as I said right at the start of the spiel, that one of the gaps is the weapon testing, is the test pilot. Is the weapon testing core, is the test pilot core, is the experimental core. I'd say that gap is missing as well in contemporary Horus Heresy. But I presaged my conversation by saying that gap wasn't a gap because it did exist at the start, and that was the First Legion. So the First Legion already... there's a couple of gaps, and one of them is the weapon testing. The test pilot is that's a gap as well. But that gap can be filled with the First Legion before it became a Legion way back. And while we were looking back to that timeline, there's another gap that you could stick in there. So I think you and I, Aussie, would need to talk about semantics, and would need to have a longer conversation about it, because I'm not explaining it very well because of beer. Yeah, I'm being a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I see engineering, for example, being Imperial Fist and Iron Warriors myself. Yeah, so, and Salamanders. And all the legions have Tech Marines. All of them. And that's not Iron Warriors. That wasn't the Iron Warriors' purpose, in the way that the Alpha Legion had a purpose, in the way that the Raven Guard had a purpose, in the way that the Death Guard had a purpose. The Death Guard was total extermination in hostile environments. Their job was to go to places where no other legions could go and exterminate every single point in life. The Iron Warriors can do it as well, and the Iron Hands can do it as well, but that's not their purpose. The purpose of the Raven Guard is very specific, and they had Tech Marines. We're talking about a legion whose purpose was to search for hidden knowledge, develop hidden knowledge, test hidden knowledge, break shit, make shit. A legion of Tech Marines and engineers. All knowledge related. There's a legion out there already who is knowledge related. And they're all scientists and historians and Thousand Sons. Okay? There's two types of universities. There's two types of colleges. There's two types of technical ways of advancing. And one is BA, Bachelor of Arts, and the other one is BSc, Bachelor of Science. And the Bachelor of Arts are poor, and they turn into and they do philosophy and all that sort of stuff. And the Bachelor of Science, they're the engineers. They're the ones that make rockets. They're the guy that builds an electric car and sticks it in a rocket that they made, and then fire the electric car in the rocket they made past the moon. They don't come round every now and then, but they're out there and they do those sorts of things. That's... yeah, so we've got a legion of thinkers. Why can't we have we've got a legion of BA, why can't we have a legion of BSc? It just... maybe there was, is what I'm saying. Aussie. I'm also half asleep in bed, so probably didn't catch everything you said. Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, well... maybe the Iron Hands will redundancy back up after purging them. Some of their main element were assigned to the Horus. Yeah, exactly. Maybe some of their element were assigned to the Iron Hands Legion. Because Malkador and the Emperor in the End of the Death say that a lot of legions are backups. Okay. I play mainly AOS, and it's very much to win. That's why I started a Grey Knights army to be ready for 10th. Okay. Nervous Magic Carp. Cool. You do you, buddy. Right. It is late, though. Aussie is half asleep. I am not making sense. I'm down to my last beer, and I really need to go pee. I've enjoyed myself with this conversation. Apart from Monkey coming in and throwing grenades over the wall. Apart from Monkey, who is my friend, apart from him, apart from that arsehole, apart from that 40-year-old midlife crisis, I'll join a football team and run around on a Sunday because I think it will keep me healthy. Oh, I've fallen over. Oh, there goes a hernia. Apart from him, oh, I really hate the hobby and I hate this and I hate that, but I'm painting still and I'm playing still and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and then can I be part of your campaign? And him. And oh, I hate the hobby, but I'm in the hobby apocalypse and I've been in it for 3 years and I love the hobby. Oh, yeah. And him. Basically, I had a long conversation with Billy Bob at the last event, and they told me about Monkey, and they told me what an arsehole he is. He's like, this guy. There are arseholes, and there are arseholes, and then there's Monkey. Apart from him, I've had a lovely conversation this evening. So, if ever you see Monkey in the street or at an event, don't stab him, shoot him, running over by a horse, or drop a building on top of his head. Don't do any of these things. Don't go up to him and look him straight in the eye and say, Winters told me you're an asshole. Don't do that. Instead, just smile and nod and give him a bit of love. Just go, hi. Give him a bit of love. Just share your love out there. Share your love. Spread your love. Increase the peace. Be nice, be gentle, be excellent to each other. Don't look Monkey dead in the eye the next time you see him when he turns up here on the 17th of June, because he's hoping that it'll line up with one of the 10th edition launches and we might do a battle report before 10th edition comes out and he gets a sneak peek at the rules and you see him then. And don't look him straight in the eye and go, you fucking arsehole, coming into my stream and dropping those grenades like that, you... Don't do that. Just go, all right, Monkey, I hear you're a great guy. Just do that. Because spread the peace, be love. Be love, be love, be lovely. Be excellent to each other. But yeah, it's been emotional. Thank you for all the likes. 116 likes to round off. It's over the 100. I like that. And thank you for the chats and the new members and for the comments. And I actually had it, yeah. And Aussie, maybe you should watch this back tomorrow and see what I was talking about the thing. I think I explained myself quite clearly. I think I did quite well, but clearly not. I think it works. I think it works as an idea. Obviously, it's a rough idea and it needs rounding out, but it's an idea. But thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. Thank you for supporting me and commenting and coming along to the chat. And thank you to the thousands of people, hopefully thousands of people, who will watch this after the stream while they're painting along in the background. And if you are watching this after the stream and are painting along in the background or doing something PG-13 along in the background, then write in the comment section in YouTube below and let me know what you're painting or what you're doing. That's PG-13, because I do like reading about other people's hobby journeys and how far they're going and what they're doing and all those sorts of things, stuff and things. So I do like reading that. I don't like reading so much as I hate you, Winters, I wish you were dead sort of things. Those suck. But hey, I've just painted this recently, or I've added this head to this robot, and now I've got a Chaos Nurgle robot Doom called Sludgy, and Sludgy is really cool, and he's my new best friend. I love those little hobby projects. So please write away below and let me know what's going on. In the meantime, one last look at the chat. Winters forgoes 10th for ages. Cheers, man. Peace. Like the smash button. We're up to 127. Thank you. Good stream, boss. I think people were entertained. I hope so, Monkey. Thank you for helping people keep entertained as well. I think, thanks. Thanks for having my back. And I didn't catch the results last stream. Are you going to keep the 13th? Well, we'll have to talk about that in the next one. Because I don't think we circled the toilet bowl of life enough about the 13th. So we'll talk about that next time. I'm painting Necrons like a golden army from Hellboy. Nice. See, those sorts of things I love to hear about. Anyway, it's been emotional. I've got to remember to press that button and this button at the same time. When is the next one? Oh, yes, good question. Okay, next live stream. So Monday, Alex SEO is coming over. Tuesday, I'm filming The Rotten Sun, which is the second part in a campaign that I'm doing with Sultan. So that's Monday night gone, Tuesday night gone. Wednesday night, I'm filming an STC with Warsmith Chris. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday gone. Thursday is probably the next time I can find myself available in the evening to do another live stream. In the meantime, the battle report that's going to go up on Tuesday is going to be available to everyone, because this weekend, which was normally the free one, is an AOS one. Funny. So the Tuesday battle report is, instead of being just a members only one, is going to be up for everyone. So the next battle report you can look, it's Tuesday. Look forward to that one. Would you rather ditch the 13th or start an Elder Army? We'll circle that one round the next time, okay? Hold on to your thoughts about the 13th. No is the answer to that question. Would you ditch the 13th or start an Elder Army? No. Trick question. You tricked me for a moment there. But the 13th questions we'll get back to on the next live stream. Thursday I'll try and be online. If not, bugger. So if not, it's going to be next Sunday at this rate, probably, unless someone pulls out somewhere. Okay, so that's how it's going to go. I might see you Thursday. I'll probably see you Thursday, all things being equal. Battle Report Tuesday, free view. Thanks for coming along. I think we've said everything. Yes, I'm going. Happy wargaming.